It's Wednesday, June 28th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First, we're going to learn about free services available to job seekers at Career Opportunities with Business Services Coordinator Neela Neary. Then we'll share part 2 in our TikTok series and learn more about preventing tick-borne illnesses with entomologist Larry Dapsis. And finally, we'll have our in-depth coverage of the recent Flag Day ceremony that was held at Hyannis West Elementary School. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Tiki Port will use a food consultant to rectify problems found during a recent health inspection. The restaurant went before the Board of Health yesterday for a show cause hearing regarding critical food safety violations. The owners also told the Board of Health they will hire a new manager as well. The restaurant will not have to close its doors for that violation, but will go through increased inspections. A proposed controversial condominium complex in Hyannis moves forward. The Planning Board discussed the regulatory agreement with Shoestring Properties during its meeting this week. Shoestring Properties requested multiple waivers from the town's zoning and general ordinances for the 33-unit condo complex on South Street and School Street in Hyannis. The Planning Board approved waivers for density and affordable housing, but rejected waivers for Historic Commission approval and for height. The regulatory agreement will next go before Town Council for its approval. A restoration project for the Burgess House in Marston's Mills will continue. The Community Preservation Committee approved spending just over $98,000 in community preservation funds for Phase 3 of renovations. The Community Preservation Committee also approved the appropriation of $200,000 to the town's Accessible Affordable Housing Program. If you haven't yet, you can still get your beach parking permit at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. Beach parking permits can be purchased from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 9 to noon on Sundays and holidays. Beach parking permits cost $40 for residents. Up next, we're going to chat with Career Opportunities Business Services Coordinator Neela Neary. So Neela, I'm so glad you could join me today to talk about what resources are available for individuals at Career Opportunities. Talk to me about some of the services that job seekers can take advantage of at Career Opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, just to know that we help people, anybody who's looking for a job. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be collecting unemployment insurance. You could be recently relocated here on the Cape. You could be somebody who hasn't been in the workplace for a while and wants to re-enter the workplace. Somebody who wants to transition into a new career. We offer these services, job search help for all of those individuals. Our services, as I said, are free, and that is because we're government funded. Maybe you may not think of them as free in the sense that you're paying taxes to support these services, but they are there and available to you. They range from coming in and using our computer rooms, our job posting listings, just to get an idea of what the opportunities are out there. You can sign up for workshops to help you with your resumes, with your interviewing skills, with your job search, with your having to use your age to your advantage, and all other kinds of networking and job search skills that you may need to land that perfect job. In addition, we have what we call individualized services. So people who feel that they really could benefit from more work one-on-one with their resumes, with their interviewing skills, and also to have us basically be an advocate for them when we refer them for jobs and reach out to employers on their behalf. Basically hire us as their own recruiter, then those services are available too.
And as we know, when searching for a job, so many times, let's say you might upload a resume, say, to monster.com when you're trying to find a job, that instantly puts you in a system where people are to begin emailing you and trying to get you to pay for resume services. You know,
oh my goodness.
Oh, you know, pay us $350 and we're going to help you with your resume. You know, this is something that if people don't know, this is a great resource available to them because it's tough to really craft that resume and make sure it's updated, maybe if you haven't been in the job market in a long time?
Well, and that's what we feel. Just because somebody has a certain skills, and whether they're administrative, management, whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that writing a resume comes that easy to them. And so we have certified professional resume writers. We've all been through training. We know how to best take advantage of getting your information in front of that potential employer. As we know, they only spend about 10 seconds glancing at a resume, so you really want to capture their attention quickly, and we will work with people to put them to their best advantage in that opportunity.
Well, and if you have a resume that maybe isn't getting that second look or isn't getting the attention, you could really have a hard time getting that interview in the first place.
That's absolutely true. And also, Sarah, the idea of having to upload resumes and those online applications, there are tricks involved in that too. We coach people about applying to jobs online. We tweak their resumes so that they upload and all those
in a good format.
In a good format, that all those key words are in there, so the computer will extract that from their resumes.
Yeah, because now we're seeing more than ever, human resources departments are using software to sift through those applications and those resumes. So you have to make sure you can get through that software.
Exactly. And in any way that's possible, we basically work with people to say, don't apply through Indeed or Monster. Let's find out the contact name of the person at the company. Let's get that directly to them. You may still have to go through the online process, but this is just another way of showing your desire and interest in a position, and we can help them with that as well.
Wow, how often does Career Opportunities have workshops like this?
We have them every week.
Really?
We have them every week. Right now we have them here as well as in an office in Falmouth. And that there's a schedule that's right on our website that's available. It's just updated all of the time. They fill up pretty quickly.
So you got to sign up?
You got to sign up. And in order to take advantage of the workshops, you need to be a member of the Career Center. And that's easy. You just come in and sign up. It's free. It's just you'll get a membership card, and then you'll be able to sign up for the workshops.
What wonderful resources for individuals who are looking for jobs, because we know that can be a very stressful proposition, and it can feel difficult, especially on Cape Cod.
Right, and I think the thing to remember also is that we have funding for training that's available. So, for instance, if somebody comes to us and they decide that they want to be a truck driver and get their CDL license and they're qualified, then we can help them and subsidize that training for them as well. Also, we work with youth, not just adults. So we have wonderful programs for young people who are perhaps out of school, didn't finish their high school diploma. We work with them to get that. We work with them to get work experience so that they can get that first full-time job. And all of these, again, all of these services are available and free.
That is our favorite four-letter word, free. We like that one. Well, anything else you want to add about what's available?
I do, because there's the other side of the house, and that's our employer services. We work very diligently with members of the business community, large and small, from the biggest employers to the smallest mom-and-pop shops, to help them fill the positions they have available. But we also want them to be aware of resources available to them. So we will certainly host our own job fairs, but they can come in and use our Career Center to host their own recruitments. And again, the space, etc., is free. We help promote it through emails and constant contact and our Facebook page, etc., all for free. In addition, we have wonderful programs that's available to them and the employers to help train their current employees or new hires. We have great programs called on-the-job training, where we will help subsidize salaries of new hires. So it's really, really important for employers to take advantage of all of these resources, again, that their taxpayers, that tax dollars are going to help support. to help grow their business.
Wow, and aren't we glad that we do have those tax dollars to pay for services like this, because what an amazing service. And we should let everyone know Career Opportunities here in Hyannis is located on North Street. Very convenient for everyone.
Absolutely.
A great parking lot right in front, so you have plenty of parking. That's not going to be an issue.
Absolutely.
So just drop in if you want to start become a
Anytime
member.
between 8 and 4, just come on in and see us. We're there to help.
Great. Well, thank you, Neela, for
pleasure,
taking us
Sarah.
through everything that Career Opportunities has to offer, which is quite a lot.
A lot.
We appreciate it.
And then some.
Yeah,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Our guest today was Neela Neary. She is the Business Services Coordinator for Career Opportunities. Well, up next, we have part 2 of our TikTok with Larry Dapsis. What kinds of ticks are there in our area and that we need to worry about?
Sure, and that's a good point. We have now 3 species of ticks that are on our radar screen. So we have the deer tick. It's been around for a long, long time. We have dog ticks. Some people call it the wood tick. Pretty common. They can vector the pathogens that cause Rocky Mountain spotted fever and tularemia, but in Massachusetts, both of those diseases are quite rare. And now the newest player to the landscape arrived, to our knowledge, 3 years ago, the Lone Star tick. And this is a very, very different beast. So we found the first established population a few miles from here at Sandy Neck Beach Park in West Barnstable. And last fall, I found another established population in West Falmouth along the Shining Sea bike trail. So we think it was introduced by migratory birds, but when it's established, we actually suspect strongly now that our friends the wild turkeys are aiding in the spreading of those ticks around Cape Cod. So in fact, when they were first describing the Lone Star tick back in the 1800s, they almost named it the turkey tick because it has a real appetite for that.
And boy, do
bird.
we have a lot of wild turkeys around
We certainly
here.
do. We certainly do.
What about, we talked about prevention, so we talked about that permethrin. How do you pronounce that? Permethrin
Permethrin.
treatment. So what about essential oils? I know a lot of people want to go a natural way. They may be concerned about chemicals. Do essential oils work, or
Well,
natural remedies?
Let's hold that. You can buy pre-treated clothing because we parked that over here.
Yep.
So you can go to insectshield.com and the pre-treated clothing keeps its activity through 70 washings,
Wow.
basically the life of the garment. And the third way you can skin that cat is you can send your clothes to Insect Shield. They'll treat them, send them back to you with the 70 washings claim. Essential oils, the all-natural school of tick management. I try and talk a lot of people out of those products. There's a huge difference between the all-natural products and things like DEET or alternatives like picaridin and things like that. DEET and picaridin, oil of lemon eucalyptus, those are all EPA registered. If it says on the label, repels ticks and mosquitoes for 8 hours, there are data on file at EPA to support that claim. These all-natural products they're registration exempt, meaning they don't have to provide one shred of data to prove they work at all. And so I tell parents quite bluntly that if you're relying upon those products, it seems like it's the best of both worlds, you're dodging bullets. You're dodging bullets. The other thing in doing research on these all-natural ingredients, I found a number of them are known human allergens, and there are documented cases of those formulations interacting negatively with sunscreens. So I tell people to wave off because the stakes are so high with this.
Right, you really want to prevent that tick bite because, as we know, it can really, even one tick bite can be, can get you in trouble.
One bite can change your life.
Yeah.
That's our message.
Very, very true. So this is actually, Barnstable County has this outreach program. Are there many other outreach programs like this in the state or in the country?
There are some in other parts of the country, but in the state, Barnstable County is unique. We're the only ones that have an aggressive outreach program, which is unfortunate. And the interesting thing is that Harvard School of Medicine contacted me several months ago, and they were looking at data trends in the state for things like Lyme. And what they saw in the data was that 9 of the 10 counties in the state have incidence rate of Lyme that are doing this. They're all on the increase. Barnstable County is flat as this table. And so they were probing around wondering what's different here. Then they found out about what we're doing here on the Cape. We are holding our own.
And that's what's different, is that we have someone here like yourself that's spreading the message that you need to be vigilant, you need to check for ticks, you need to have those ticks tested, and you need to use a permethrin spray or treated clothing to prevent those tick bites.
Sure, and I'm one part of the whole outreach equation. The other side of this is our county nurse, Deidre Arvidsson, and she has a program where she goes into the schools to train kids on this whole matter. So it's kind of like tag team.
I saw a sign recently posted on the side of the road, spray your lawn, get rid of fleas and ticks. Is that an option? Is that something that we should consider, having our yards treated?
That's my 1-2 punch. Permethrin treated clothing and tick checks and perimeter yard sprays. I think the combination of those is a good thing to do. So there are services that you can contract with that will do the edges of your yard. You don't have to spray the lawn. Short grass, direct sunlight, low humidity, that's a hostile environment for deer ticks. But over at the edges where you get a transition into taller vegetation and leaf litter and shade, that's where you're going to find it. So I recommend people treating their yards late May, late June, and again in mid-October, or you can save yourself money, some money, and go to a garden center and get a hose end sprayer and just tell them you want something to treat the edge of your yard. They'll know exactly what you're talking about and set you up.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Before I let you go, you just had a documentary premiere at a Provincetown Film Festival.
Indeed.
This is very exciting. What was the documentary called?
Tick Days. And it was done by an independent filmmaker, Boston Picture Group, Marnie Crawford. And so she's been following me around for the past year and took about 40 hours of interviews and field work and crafted it into a 20-minute beautiful documentary. So P-Town was the first festival that we were shown at. We have another screening coming up at another festival in August, and we're not allowed to say where it is right now. And once that's done, Marnie wants to make this available for screenings at all the Cape Cod libraries. So we're going to get this out to the general public probably starting sometime this fall.
Great. Well, thank you for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Now we know how to protect ourselves from ticks.
Sure. So for Barnstable Today Nation, stay tick safe.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Our guest today, entomologist Larry Dapsis. Hyannis West Elementary School recently held a Flag Day ceremony. We share our in-depth coverage of the event.
So good morning, students, staff, and visitors to Hyannis West to our annual Flag Day ceremony. Each year, a different school in the town of Barnstable has the privilege of honoring our nation's flag. And this year, it's Hyannis West's turn. I'd first like to welcome some really special guests. We have Meg Mayo Brown, our superintendent of schools. From the JFK Memorial Trust Committee, we have Lynn Poyant, Bob Jones, Hugh Finley, the JFK Memorial Trust Scholarship recipient, Dan Loisel, and representing the town of Barnstable, we have our new town manager, Andy Clyburn, Patty Machado, and our very own Officer Brian. So the idea of having a special day as Flag Day began over 130 years ago when a school teacher in Wisconsin decided the students should celebrate the anniversary of our flag. And then in 1889, a long time ago, a kindergarten teacher in New York City planned a ceremony like the one we are having today. Many other Flag Day celebrations took place over the years, but it was not until August 3rd, 1949, that President Truman signed an act of Congress designating June 14th of each year as National Flag Day. The first official flag of the United States was created in 1777, exactly 240 years ago. It had 13 stripes, as it still does today, to represent the 13 colonies. And at the time, it had 13 stars for the same reason. The flag now has how many stars? 50! Nice job. It has 50 stars, which represents, you rock, the 50 states. You may have heard the flag called Old Glory before. In 1831, a ship captain in Salem, Massachusetts, was leaving on a voyage. He was presented with a flag containing 24 stars and hoisted it up onto a pole. As the wind caught it on the open sea, he exclaimed, "Old Glory!" And the name stuck for many years.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I'm here on behalf of the John Fitzgerald Kennedy Memorial Trust Fund Committee, and that memorial is down by Veterans Beach. Do you all know where Veterans Beach is? You might take swimming lessons or sailing lessons there. You do, yes. And every year we receive a flag that was flown over the United States Capitol. And the United States Capitol, I'm sure you will learn more as you progress in your grades, but that's down in Washington, D.C. And it is flown over the Capitol, and then it is taken down, and it is delivered to the John Fitzgerald Kennedy Memorial Trust Fund Committee to be flown at the memorial, and then we take it down, and then we give it to an elementary school in the town of Barnstable. I'm going to present that to your good keeping.
time, I'd like to call up Lynn Poyant, the JFK Memorial Trust Fund Committee Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Amato. I have to tell you that this is my favorite day of the year, and you have outdone yourselves. Your voices singing strong and saying the Pledge of Allegiance so strong, it does a heart good. And if there's somebody that doesn't love America, if they heard you today, they would definitely fall in love with America. So thank you so much. I have the privilege of introducing to you someone who was in your shoes a number of years ago, who has received this JFK Memorial Trust Fund scholarship. And his name is Dan Loisel, and he will be telling you a little bit about himself because he's going to be going off to college in September. But he's a very special young man. We're going to be looking for a lot of things from him. And without further ado, Dan.
It was not too long ago that I was in your shoes, an elementary student, just like you are here today. As an elementary student, I looked up to a true leader, John F. Kennedy. He strived for equality for all, and as a president, he inspired many people to do amazing things. He set a goal to send the men to the moon. It was the boldness of the dream that got everyone behind it and made it possible to do what was most thought was impossible. And so it was on that July 20th, 1969, that Neil Armstrong stepped out onto the moon and took a giant leap for mankind. Our American flag was placed on the moon, and it's amazing to think that it still stands today. In the spring of 1962, President Kennedy made a proclamation about Flag Day. He stated that we need to remember that our flag represents strength and honor. And under this flag, we are free from oppression and have the opportunity for a better life. President Kennedy's life was far too short. Serving as our president for just over 1,000 days, during that time he caught the imagination of a new generation of Americans and got them to realize that as Americans, we could do anything we set our minds to. He believed in the saying, anything a man can conceive, he can believe and achieve. In closing, I remind you of his famous words, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. So I ask you to take the advantage of this school and the town and all it has to offer. Think about what you can contribute to this community of Barnstable. John F. Kennedy would expect nothing less. Thank you.
O flag of our Union, O flag of our Union, to you will be true, to your red and white stripes and your stars on the blue. The emblem of freedom, the symbol of right, we children salute you, O flag fair and bright.